Hello, people from around the universe! I am your host, the Italian Ace Trainer, and today we're going to talk about the free starters for Pokemon Legends Arceus, but more specifically, which one of them I think has the most potential for improvement. Let's get into it. But what do I mean when I'm talking about which of these Pokemon has the most potential? Well, I'm referring to the very real possibility that these will be the first starters to ever get a new regional form. Something which seems to be more and more likely with each new trailer of Legends Arceus, as they still have not shown any of these Pokemon having second or third stage evolutions in the game. Now yes, this could just be a coincidence and there's nothing behind it, but if there is some reason for them holding out on showing the evolved forms of the starters, I think new regional forms are the most obvious explanation. So I think it's a good idea to talk about the potential Hisuian forms for these starters, and which one of them I think has the best chance at improving over the original evolutionary line. But with all that being said, let's get into the actual Pokemon, starting off with the Decidueye. Now, personally speaking, I think that a Hisuian Decidueye is probably the one with the least potential out of the three starters for Legends Arceus. And before everyone gets their pitchforks out and starts telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, which may very well be true, what I mean by this is that the Decidueye, to me at least, is already a great conclusion to the Rowlet line. It works, you know? It's a very natural progression and it ends with a very cool design that makes perfect sense for Rowlet's final stage. So while I think that a Hisuian Decidueye could be fantastic, I just don't know if it's necessarily going to be a better evolutionary line than the one that we already have now. Next, we have Samurott. So, I've never been the biggest fan of Samurott as a final stage evolution for the Oshawott line. And that is mostly because you start off with Oshawott, who is bipedal and uses his shell as like a blade. And then you go to Duat, who is again bipedal and now uses two shells as blades. And then you go into Samurott, who is quadrupedal and now uses his horn as his blade weapon thing. What? I mean, the design isn't bad, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like Samurott is the proper conclusion for Oshawott's progression. It leaves something to be desired, at least to me. And because of that, I think a potential Hisuian Samurott could fix a lot of my issues with that line and potentially be a vast improvement over what we currently have. Finally, we have Typhlosion. Now, if you had asked me what I thought about Typhlosion back when it first released, I would have told you it's easily one of the best designed Pokemon, one of the best conclusions to any evolutionary lines, and just overall great and amazing. And that's why this hurts so much to say. But Typhlosion, over the years, has just been getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, it feels like Game Freak doesn't like Typhlosion. Maybe that's just me because I'm a huge fan of that line, but they start off with making the shiny worse between Gen 2 and Gen 3, since the flames no longer change colors. Then they decide that in the switch to 3D, it should get completely butchered in terms of its design, because now not only are the flames no longer constantly out, but the color palette is less vibrant and the shiny coloring is worse again. Like, why? Why, Game Freak? Why are you like this? Why did you do my boy Typhlosion dirty like that? He deserves better, you know? He deserves some love. And this is not even mentioning the fact that he's so bad competitively. Like, oh, Typhlosion, why are they like this? Why do they do you like this? Why? 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 So of course, with all of this in mind, I think that a potential Hisuian Typhlosion could be amazing. It could completely revolutionize the Cyndaquil line and maybe even fix the one that we currently have, as it seems like now that they're making Cyndaquil a main Pokemon of the game again, they're actually fixing his design by having the flames be around his neck constantly again, which is already a huge improvement. So a potential Hisuian Typhlosion on top of that could just be amazing. Like, just thinking about it gets me all hyped, you know? So realistically, I think Typhlosion has a lot to gain from Pokemon Legends Arceus. Now for the moment that we've all been waiting for. Whose possible Hisuian form do I think has the most potential to improve over the current evolutionary line? Drumroll please. And the answer is Samurott. Now I know that some of you will be confused because I was building up Typhlosion for so long, saying that Game Freak was showing him no love, making his design worse throughout the generations, and therefore he needed something to be revitalized. However, remember that I also said that when he was first released, Typhlosion was the perfect end to the Cyndaquil line. And I still stand by that. So if they fix Typhlosion's design by giving him his flames back, and maybe even changing the shiny back to what it originally was, I think he's already a fantastic conclusion to Cyndaquil's progression. Much like I thought Decidueye was a great final stage for Rowlet. And because of that, I think it's, in my opinion, clear that Samurott is the one who has a Hisuian form with the most potential to improve over the current line. Now, not just any Hisuian form will do. I want a Hisuian form that fixes the main problems I've been having with this line since it was first released. So mainly, I would like for it to be bipedal, and I would like for it to have shells being a major part of the design again, or at the very least, some kind of water blades that he wields in a sword-like fashion, instead of what we have now, when he has the horn, and then the flippers/arms that extend into water blades, which I was never really that big of a fan of. But if Game Freak does come up with the right Hisuian form, not only do I think that Samurott could have one of the best regional forms that we've seen so far, but I also think that the new evolutionary line for Oshawott could go down as one of the best starter lines, period, in any game. And I think that would be pretty amazing, since Oshawott to me has always had so much potential for greatness. But what do you guys think? Do you agree that Samurott has the most potential with a possible Hisuian form? Do you maybe think it's Decidueye or Typhlosion? Or are you maybe of the opinion that actually, because they haven't confirmed Hisuian starters yet, we're not gonna get any new forms for these Pokemon, and I'm just making a video about a what if that will never happen? I'm genuinely just curious to see where everyone is at in this discussion, and I would love to know what kind of Hisuian forms everyone is hoping for these starters. But I think that will about do it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, please leave a like down below. If you want to see more Pokemon Legends Arceus content, or just more Pokemon content in general, consider subscribing, as I plan on making a lot more of this type of content because I just really enjoy it, and I want to share my opinion with, well, anyone who wants to listen, I guess. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. And until then, remember to follow the way of the ace. See ya. I'm genuinely curious to see what everyone is... I'm genuinely curious to see where everyone is at in terms of this discussion, and I just want to get a better idea of what the community would want from potential Hisuian forms for the new starters.